Iron Man 3, directed by Shane Black, is a movie about finding a way to start over. It's more than just a superhero story. It's about people trying to fix their mistakes and change their lives. Tony Stark works to understand himself after the events of the Avengers, while Aldrich Killian lets his anger drive him toward revenge. The movie shows how different characters deal with their pasts in very different ways.
Okay, so it's poison?
My diagnosis is that you've experienced a severe anxiety attack.
Me?
In Iron Man 3, Tony Stark goes through a personal journey of growth and change. After the Battle of New York in the Avengers, he struggles with fear, anxiety, and a sense of helplessness. This movie focuses on how Tony faces his fears, discovers who he really is, and proves that being a hero is about more than wearing a suit of armor. The Battle of New York left Tony shaken. He saw aliens, gods, and forces beyond his control, which made him realize how small and vulnerable he really was. As a result, he starts having panic attacks. Simple reminders of what happened, like hearing the word New York, trigger his anxiety. This side of Tony is very different from the confident, carefree person we knew before. It shows that even the smartest and richest man in the world can feel scared and overwhelmed. It also makes Tony more relatable because it shows he's human, just like everyone else. To deal with his fear, Tony throws himself into his work. He builds dozens of Iron Man suits, thinking they will protect him and make him feel safe. But instead of solving his problems, the suits become a way for him to avoid dealing with his emotions. At the same time, his obsession with the suits causes problems in his relationship with Pepper Potts. She sees how much the suits consume him and how they keep him from facing what's really bothering him. The suits, once symbols of his power and confidence, now represent his fear and inability to move forward. Tony's journey takes a turn when he ends up stranded in a small town without his usual tools or resources. He meets a young boy named Harley Keener and starts working in a simple garage. Without his high-tech lab, Tony is forced to rely on his skills and creativity. This moment is important because it reminds Tony of who he really is. Before he became Iron Man, he was a brilliant inventor. Working in the garage helps him reconnect with that part of himself. Harley also plays a big role by inspiring Tony to think outside the box and reminding him of his own curious and inventive younger self. By the end of the movie, Tony realizes that the suits don't define him. In a bold move, he destroys all his Iron Man suits. This isn't just a dramatic scene. It's a way of saying that he doesn't need the armor to feel strong or to protect the people he loves. Tony also has surgery to remove the shrapnel near his heart, which means he no longer needs the arc reactor in his chest. This is a big step because the reactor was both a part of his identity and a reminder of his past mistakes. Letting it go shows that Tony is ready to move forward and leave his fears behind. Tony's journey in Iron Man 3 is about growth and change. He learns that being a hero isn't about wearing a suit of armor or having advanced technology. It's about being brave, facing your fears, and staying true to yourself. This lesson shapes the Tony Stark we see in later movies. By the time of Avengers Endgame, Tony has become a hero who is willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. His decision to give up his life to save the universe shows how far he's come since Iron Man 3.
I'm titillated by the notion of working with you.
Yeah? Yeah, I'll ditch these clowns. I'll see you up on the roof in 5 minutes. Just gonna try to get my beak wet real quick. You know what I'm talking about?
I'll see you up there.
Aldrich Killian, the main villain in Iron Man 3, is a darker version of Tony Stark. He's a man who lets rejection and anger guide his choices, turning his intelligence and ambition into tools for revenge. His story shows what happens when the need for approval goes too far. Killian's journey starts with rejection. As a young scientist, he looks up to Tony Stark and wants his respect. But Tony brushes him off, leaving Killian feeling humiliated and angry. This moment sticks with him for years, fueling his desire to prove himself. Killian creates the Extremis program to rebuild himself and his career. The project helps him turn his weak body into one with incredible strength and power. But instead of using this gift to help others, Killian uses it to feed his ego and get back at those who doubted him. He believes power will make him feel worthy, but he ignores the harm he causes, including the soldiers who suffered during the experiments. His quest isn't about growth. It's about proving he's better than everyone else. To gain more control, Killian creates the Mandarin, a fake terrorist meant to scare the world and cover up his own actions. This shows how much he fears facing the world as himself. Instead of being honest, he hides behind fear and manipulation to get what he wants. This false persona reflects Killian's inner struggle. While he craves attention, he also hides his true self, believing an illusion of power is better than facing his insecurities. Killian's biggest mistake is thinking power and revenge can fix his pain. Unlike Tony Stark, who takes responsibility for his past and works to become better, Killian only focuses on getting even. He never learns to care about the people he hurts or the damage he causes. In the end, his obsession with proving himself leads to his downfall. He loses everything because he refuses to face his flaws and change.
You're not still pissed off about the Switzerland thing, are you?
How can I be pissed at you, Tony? I'm here to thank you. You gave me the greatest gift that anybody's ever given me. Desperation.
The parallels between Tony Stark and Aldrich Killian in Iron Man 3 highlight a compelling contrast in how individuals respond to rejection, failure, and personal growth, ultimately shaping their trajectories in life. Tony's acceptance versus Killian's resentment. Both characters experience rejection at crucial points in their lives. Tony, as a young man, rejected the attention of Aldrich Killian, who approached him in an attempt to collaborate on his scientific ideas. That early rejection shaped Killian's deep resentment, which over the years morphed into a thirst for revenge. Tony, on the other hand, is confronted with his own flaws throughout the movie, especially after the events of the Avengers, where his impulsive nature and arrogance nearly led to his own destruction. Tony's journey in Iron Man 3 is about coming to terms with his past mistakes, taking responsibility for the chaos he's caused, and learning humility. He recognizes that his greatest flaw, his need for control and perfection, can be his downfall, but through introspection and self-awareness, he begins to rebuild. Killian, however, lets the pain of his rejection fester, feeding into a deep-seated desire for vengeance and power. His fixation on getting back at Tony for the past hurts blinds him to the possibility of redemption. Instead of confronting his own flaws, Killian externalizes them and channels them into a destructive ambition, using his genius for malicious purposes. His refusal to embrace self-awareness and his focus on getting revenge highlight the key difference between their characters. Tony is able to accept his past, while Killian is consumed by his. This dynamic reinforces the film's central message about redemption. It's not about erasing past mistakes, but acknowledging them and striving to do better. But Iron Man 3 looks at redemption not just for Tony Stark, but for many characters in the story. It shows how people try to recover, grow, or change, and the different ways they go about it. Pepper Potts, usually seen as Tony's supportive partner, takes on a bigger role in this movie. She goes through her own challenges and becomes stronger, even saving Tony in the end. When she gains powers from the Extremis experiment, she doesn't let fear hold her back. Instead, she uses those powers to help others. Her story shows that redemption can come from finding strength and confidence in yourself, even in difficult times. The Extremis soldiers show a sadder side of redemption. They turn to Aldrich Killian's experiments because they want to fix their lives, heal their bodies, or get a second chance. But the experiment makes them dangerous and unstable. Their stories remind us that trying to fix things the wrong way, especially out of desperation, can cause more harm than good. By showing redemption from different angles, the hopeful, the heroic, and the tragic, Iron Man 3 makes us think about what it means to start over. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.